Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and let's start this new series here based again on one of your suggestions. Please keep those suggestions coming. I'm going to be doing a good number of these throughout the next coming weeks. This one has to do with a strange aquatic creature, a monster of sorts, that is found there both in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. It may actually be mistaken with another real-life creature, more on that here in a minute, but if these sightings are true, then this is apparently a monster that has been around for a good number of years, several hundred years, if not even earlier. But you specifically have to go to a river in order to find this creature. In fact, you're looking at a representation of it here. It has a very unique name as well. It's known as the Monongy. Hope I'm saying that correctly, Monongy. So let's go ahead and let's share all the info that I can about this elusive creature. Then I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on it too. Those of you that are in those areas that I'm about to mention here in just a moment, let me know too if you've been to those spots. See if you have any local experiences to share. So let's go ahead and let's start this video here. So what is this Monongy? Unfortunately, there's not much info associated with it. It's just very elusive, even though it's been around apparently for a good number of years, several hundred years. In fact, if you go by the notion that it was around during a particular set of wars, more on that here in just a moment, it still has yet to be captured. It still has yet to be seen truly by people. But otherwise, it's been described more along the lines of being a half man, half fish. That's it. That's basically its description. So imagine an aquatic creature has half the body associated with fish, half the body associated with the man. I would picture more along the lines of a humanoid-like fish, and that's essentially what you have here. I wouldn't go as far as saying that it's like a merman, but instead definitely more of a aquatic creature. Where it's found is actually at a place called the Monongahela River. Monongahela, I hope I'm saying that right too. Hence the name associated with it, the Monongy, because it comes from that specific river. So if you ever wanted to catch any sightings of this creature or have a good chance of seeing it somewhere, that's a good starting point there. And there's no specific spot per se within the river, but just hang about and who knows, you may be able to see this elusive creature there. But it has been there apparently for quite some time. That war that I was mentioning was this. People have seen it lurking in that river since the French and Indians War. So you're talking about several hundred years back. That's when people first saw it. That's when they first started mentioning that it was a half man, half fish. And in fact, it's been seen there not only by some of the people that lived there, but even earlier citizens like Native Americans, they were there as well. And then also British soldiers. British soldiers stated that according to some of them, the skirmishes that they had during that time period, they spotted quote-unquote bizarre creatures from the river alongside some of the local tribes also seeing that creature too. In fact, it was those Native American tribes that ended up giving the name associated with this monster. They called it the Monongy, and then it basically stuck afterwards. But if you wanted to hear about another strange occurrence when it comes to time periods and sightings, is this. Apparently it languished throughout all that time after the French and Indian War. Like it was still there, it was still by the river, just wasn't seen as much. But sometime between the early 1930s all the way to the 1950s, there in that same area, that's when all of a sudden there was these rash of sightings. Who knew why this was now happening right out of the blue during those specific set of years? But it was, and as a article written by Bill Egbert in the Johnson Tribune Democrat stated, they said, quote unquote, sightings were reported weekly, and the Pittsburgh Police Department responded by creating a task force specifically to deal with the aquatic creature. So the sightings got so much that there was actually a police response and a task force, no less, and they were trying to see if they could do anything as far as catching this creature. But alas, even though there was that department behind them and then doing all this effort, nothing essentially came about of these sightings afterward. But those sightings have stuck here and there throughout multiple occurrences. In fact, one of the more prominent ones was in 2003. Apparently, a fishing boat somebody there had captured a photo of the Monongy, and it appeared online for some time period, but then was mysteriously vanished. No one knows exactly why that occurred. Maybe it was something along the lines of it being my guess is that it was being a fake, and then somebody realized, let me take this off, or it was too real and it was removed by other parties. But who knows? That was one of the most prominent ways of showcasing, at least recently or somewhat recently, proof of the existence of this creature. But alas, that proof was never finalized. But starting in 2010, there was another concerted effort. This happened in Pittsburgh, and it's been happening every year since then. If you're there in Pittsburgh at the right time, you can participate in an annual event called the Search for Monongy. Apparently, it's a swim race. This is a race that gives information about the beast, about the monster itself, and then people gather, trying almost half-heartedly, I would imagine, to see if they could try to find this particular creature. It's both available for locals and for tourists as they try to hunt for the monster. But as of this moment, 14 years since that actual event started, no one has captured anything regarding this creature just yet. But who knows? Maybe this year, this could be the year itself. Maybe that finally there's going to be some conclusive proof associated with it. Otherwise, the main thing you're going to be looking for is just a half man, half fish, again, lurking somewhere around the river, and that's going to be your best bet to try to find it. Now, I was mentioning earlier about the chance that it's mistaken for another creature, and in fact, you're looking at it here. This is known as the giant Hellbender. Interesting name, right? It's also given a nickname known as the devil dog. This is a creature that's also found there in the Monongahela River, but this is a real one. This is a giant salamander, and it's there, and it's been there for who knows how long, way back probably even before the Native Americans' time. But they are there. They are seen constantly, and they are also seen sliming up fishing lines, and they're also driving away gaming fish, and they also are known to have a poisonous bite. So locals know about them, at least to this day, and then people see them every now and then as well. They could actually be mistaken. Like, in other words, the Monongy could be mistaken for these giant salamanders. Imagine seeing them from a distance. Imagine them just on top of some rock somewhere, and then with the distance and then the way things look from the perspective, you could think that this is a half person, half fish, and wondering to yourself, am I looking at something, especially if it's somebody that's new to the area, maybe not familiar with the fact that these quote-unquote devil dogs have their homes there around that location. They could be thinking that they're looking at something wondrous, something new, something involving like a cryptid, and so they think that they're seeing something out of the ordinary when in fact they're looking at a giant salamander that makes its home there. So that's apparently a creature that is again misinterpreted for the Monongy and vice versa. Those of you that are local, again, let me know, post it in the comments too, if there's any such information like that. Like, have you seen this particular real life giant salamander there? And if so, how does it look like? Does it look like a half man, half person from far away? Could it easily be mistaken and be thought that it's something else entirely different? Let me know. But that's pretty much it. Not much info to give in this go around just because of how elusive that this creature is. I will mention one more thing though. This river that this creature dwells at, the Monongahela River, not only does it apparently house this one cryptid, but also two more. There's another one by the name of the Ogua that apparently roams there. And then there's another creature known as the Roseville River Monster. It's a giant catfish, I guess, something with a large fin and a serpentine tail that is apparently in those waters too. So apparently interesting stuff. This is a world, a home for a bunch of cryptids, and all it takes is that one fateful glance, that one interesting snapshot or video, and then who knows if it'll finally showcase this Monongy in all of their glory. But otherwise, let me know, especially those locals, if you have more information as well. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.